Namo Ramana, A.S. Venugopala. I was steeped in horrible ignorance about Bhagavan and his unique grace and greatness. It was his unbounded compassion that caught this poor soul in one grip as it were and sowed the seed of a total transformation in my outlook, in my way of life. And what a wonder! I was not even aware of his mercy for quite a long time. My avidya was so deep-rooted and strong. One pleasant morning, there was a knock at my door. A local gentleman, who was not very familiar to me, was standing outside. I called him in, and after the formal introduction, he astonished me with his request that I may kindly accept the invitation of the President, Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning, Bangalore, and give a talk on the occasion of the centenary celebrations of the Maharshi. I pleaded my ignorance. He insisted that I should not miss this rare occasion. Well, talking on subjects known and also totally unknown is not new to a professor in a college, particularly to one who teaches language and literature. As a friendly gesture, I yielded to my new friend, though somewhat reluctantly. I began to study the books like a student, prepared profuse notes, and was ready for the occasion. The formal invitation came, and surely it was a nice gathering of scholars and elite audience at Bangalore. My talk was well received by the kind audience. I did not know then that it was just the beginning and surely not an end. Sri Bhagavan had by his unique way caught me already in his magic grip. It took me quite some time to understand and realize Maharshi's master grip. The tiger's jaw was only to kill my ego and raise me up towards his lotus feet of love and compassion. Literally, it was Bhagavan Ramana who knocked at my door and stood before me and beckoned me towards him and embraced me in his compassionate hug. After many years, I sang of him, Yava Mudiya Ramana Matagrano Ivano Maneya Kadatatti Manava Kandavano. Who is this magician who knocked at my door and brought my mind? Well, that was only the beginning. A few months later, I got a copy of the noted little book of Paul Brenton, Maharshi and His Message, for translation into my mother tongue, Kannada, one of the 5 main languages of South India. I was fascinated and felt elevated, for Paul Brenton to me is not only a mystic but a mystic poet. Yes, his prose is really poetic in its charm and mysticism. As a humble student of literature, I liked this nice book and my translation was really a love of labor. It was published soon by RMCL Bangalore and was well received. My ego chuckled without knowing that Bhagavan was tightening his grip to literally drag me towards him. Translation of Thoughts into Kannada and its publication is a story by itself signifying Bhagavan's silent grace. As the devotees of Bhagavan very well known, this text is the Bible of Ramana Vedanta and an authentic record of his teaching. It runs into 800 pages in print. The work had to be taken up mostly during late night hours as I was busy with classroom teaching throughout the day. It took almost 1.5 years for completion of the translation. But what was strange was that never once was the dictionary used. Suitable words simply flashed as it were. What more? When a particular question was haunting me, whether spiritual or even worldly. During the day, the most appropriate answer would be found during the translation of a particular passage in reply to a similar question by some devotee. Such experience literally thrilled me, and I felt a deep rapport was established between me and the Sadguru. The president of RMCL Bangalore met the publisher along with me with a request to take up the work for printing. The noted publisher at first put a note of apology stating that he had practically stopped all Kannada publications. But wonder of wonders is that within a few minutes he changed his mind and took up the manuscript for printing, and in fact later became one of the devotees of Bhagavan. This beautifully got up publication came within a short period and registered a fast sale. When I made over the royalty amount to the Ramanashramam as my humble contribution, perhaps a tinge of ego was still left in me. But at the end of the year, Bhagavan granted his boon in the form of an award for the best translation work for the year by the Karnataka Rajya Sahitya Academy. When I found the prize amount being almost the double of what I had contributed to the ashramam, I felt ashamed at my ego. There was nothing I could offer to Bhagavan. His bountiful mercy knew no bounds. My first visit to Ramanashramam was with my younger son in January 1982. It happened to be my son's birthday. At my request, the authorities permitted me to stay in the ashram campus for the night. We were soaked in the kindness and hospitality of the ashram people and felt the strong and visible presence of the Maharshi everywhere. We spent a blissful night, and in the morning I mentioned to my good friend Sri Ganeshan, who was there in charge of the office, "What a strange coincidence, sir. I'm here at my son's birthday without any pre-plan." Pat came his reply with deep conviction. "No, friend, there is no word as coincidence in Bhagavan's dictionary. Everything is predetermined. It is for a purpose you and your son are here. Bhagavan knows what it is all about." What purpose could it be? I chuckled. But when I found in later years how I was drawn towards Arunachala year by year and finally made it my home, and how my younger son could also stay in the ashram for almost 6 blissful months, I understood the import of Sri Ganeshan's word of wisdom. My visits to ashram continued year by year, and the duration of my stay each time increased. I had the good fortune of meeting elder devotees who were so close to Bhagavan and were the eyewitness of his graceful presence. These blessed souls included Shriyuts Balarama Reddy, Professor Ramachandraya, Kunju Swami, Annamalai Swamiji, Kittu Mama, and others who were so kind and compassionate towards me and my wife. They were never hesitant to share their intimate experiences with a stranger like me. Bhagavan stood deep-rooted in my heart and began to guide me day in and day out. Once I sang of him, "Thou lighted my streets in the day. Thou came as a pleasant moonlight in my dreams. And O Ramana, you fed me with milk of compassion in my deep sleep without my even knowing it. Only you who are beyond awakening, dream, and deep sleep, only you who are only a witness." It was during my stay in the ashram that songs in Kannada and Sanskrit flowed from my heart unceasingly and effortlessly. They were done thus at Skandashramam, Virupaksha cave, while doing Giri Pradakshina, while sitting silently in the old hall by Bhagavan's grace. My wife almost immediately set them to proper tunes and would sing them before Bhagavan. She is thrilled even to recollect how the most meaningful and melodious tunes would flash in her without any effort. My heart melts at Bhagavan's grace on both of us. Once, I was working as the presiding officer in a village in Karnataka, very near Kollur, the noted pilgrimage center in Karnataka. Completing my work, I stayed in a lodge for the night with a program to visit this place the next morning with a friend of mine. It rained cats and dogs as it were till 2 a.m. Electric lights went off and I did not have a torch even. I had to answer nature's call and came out of my room. To my left, a few yards away, there was the backyard and I walked with faltering steps in the damp and mud way. After going some distance, for no logical reason, I stopped and decided not to move further and came back. Again, for no particular reason, took the way to the right, answered nature's call in some corner and came back. Suddenly, lights were on. My eyes caught the shining, piercing, compassionate eyes of Bhagavan in the beautiful photo I had kept on the table in my room. I did my prostrations and had a sound sleep till 6 a.m. the next morning. I got up and followed my own footsteps to the left towards backyard and in the damp mud could see a deep impression of my feet wherefrom I had returned the previous night. To my horror, I found just an inch before me an 8 feet deep ditch filled up with filthy water, etc. Dug for gobar gas plant. Just one step more, I would have fallen into the ditch and perhaps would have breathed my last. It must be, and it is Bhagavan's grace that inspired my intuition to retrace my steps exactly at this point. Thus, Bhagavan is showering his karunya on me and my family by choosing me as his instrument to sing his own song. He, in his boundless mercy, has given me and my wife and to my dear daughter shelter and protection at his lotus feet. What is best for us? What we have to do and endure for the upliftment of our soul, surely Bhagavan knows. To him, we have surrendered completely. Om Shri Ramanarpanamastu. Even so, since the power supreme does, as it must, sustain all things, men should leave their burdens of care on that awareness and feel free. Garland of Guru's Sayings, verse 173.